People hate fake natties because they're lying. However, I am one of the few people that do prefer fake natties to those that are open about steroids, because the rise of natties coming out and saying they're on stuff has also coincided with the amount of young people going on stuff. 19-year-old natural bodybuilder destroys back day. The only thing is that this is the 19-year-old they're talking about. And if you don't know who's next to him, he is mainly well known, or at least to me, from like training Sebum. I've always seen clips of him on Instagram coaching Sebum. So this is the guy that is now doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on the fact that Julian Fitzgerald is natural. Listen to the reasons as to how Rambod proved to us all that this kid is natural.
Dude, man, like he tore up my legs, bro.
All right, guys, I am here with none other than youngin' Julian Fitzgerald.
He should have introduced him as, I am here with the most obvious unnatural bodybuilder of this generation, because this is up there with flipping Michael Hearn. Like, this kid, he looks like he was made in a lab. Like, have you ever seen those really muscle-bound cows or bulls that just have muscles everywhere? This is what this kid looks like. And the kicker is, I think he's only been training like 3 years.
Good.
God, it's huge. Jesus, look at this dude. His arms.
Good.
They're like Popeye's forearms, but on the biceps.
Good form.
Help, up. There you go, hold it now, hold it. I'm gonna let go, you're gonna go slow. Hold it, hold it, hold it.
There you go. So what I did was I gave him negatives at the very end of that. So what does that mean? I'm giving him all of the positive help on that last set.
I was about to give him the compliment on his coaching, but it goes without saying, the dude trains Chris Bumstead, you know what I mean? I don't need to like overly glaze, but he does give really good tips, which makes it more shocking when you watch this video. He consistently will refer to Julian as natural, but in an unnatural way. For example, he'll keep saying, but if you're a natural lifter, which makes it look more fake. It makes you feel like, well, why are you doing this? Is it because you yourself do not believe it?
For those of you that are wondering whether or not he's natural or not, and why I do believe that he is natural, is because, again, no disrespect, but he is not very strong. He's got a pretty good strong squat, but when you were doing shoulder press, 50-pound dumbbells, kind of that was it. When you're taking drugs, guys, you naturally, one of the first things that goes up is your strength. That's why, believe it or not, I do believe he's natural. Looking at his blood work, not just myself, but a lot of other experts who've seen it, but also knowing what I know in the gym, right? And turning around, and one of the things that do people, especially with great arms, they respond when taking drugs is through the shoulders, right? The shoulders tend to grow fastest and the most.
And look at him. His nostrils is flared. He's looking down to the ground. It looks like shame, for being completely honest. Like back in the day when you saw like people like David Lade or all these various YouTube fitness stars back in the day, like around the 2014 up to like 2018 realm, they looked really good, but they weren't like this kind of good. Like they had like a very more slender, flatter build muscles. Like they look very defined, but this is like chunky muscle. Like this looks mature, like it's like a rock. And the fact that the coach is more or less saying that because his shoulders don't look that big and he's not super strong, he's not on steroids. I don't know if that's enough to prove it. Because yes, I do see what he's saying in regards to the shoulders. Like for example, if you look at Larry Wheels, look at his traps, look at his shoulders, and look at this kid, they are smaller. However, let's be real, considering Larry Wills is on stuff, like quite a lot of stuff, and he's been training for like much longer than 3 years, and he has great genetics himself and on steroids, you have to ask yourself, what are the chances that someone naturally can get this close to someone that has good genetics while on steroids? That's the biggest question, because he's not far off. You got to think, like in terms of shoulders, yeah, but in terms of overall physique and aesthetics, especially because they're doing different poses right now, like Larry's doing the most muscular and Julian's just standing there normal. If they were both doing that, it does accentuate your shoulders because you're putting them in a prone position. So I do believe there is validity in what he said to an extent, but I don't know how far you can play it when you take everything else in combination with that. We also have his first video where on his own YouTube channel, he basically like measures his arms and stuff, so we'll see how big they are. I can see from here, they're automatically bigger than 17 inches. I'm gonna guess his arms are probably 20 inches, which is insane to say. But we will get back to that video afterwards.
When you have amazing genetics, you have standout body parts, but you're usually strong when you take drugs. And no offense, you got a long ways to go to start getting stronger, even naturally, but getting buried with 50-pound dumbbells on shoulder press is not one of them.
I'm not an expert in steroids, so I'm going to be the first to say that. So anyone in the comments that knows more about it, and based on my previous video talking about celebs on SARMs and steroids, a lot of you out there know a lot more about steroids than I think the average person should. But a lot of you out there do know a lot. If you think someone can be a hyper responder to like things like creatine, is it not possible that he's on something, maybe not that crazy of amount, and just hyper responded to it? Therefore, his strength hasn't radically gone up the same way it would if he was taking everything under the sun.
Let's see. Boom. So if you notice, we're teaching him is to supinate the wrist properly so you can get the peak.
That sort of bump on a bicep is not normal. That's more than a baseball, because a baseball at least looks more curvy. That looks like almost a triangle. They don't stretch like from like the whole way. It's kind of like a little bump right in the middle. It's like someone just injected a golf ball under your skin. But yeah, it still has huge arms. So I think no one can take away from this kid that he definitely is genetically gifted. And no one can take away that he probably does put in hard work, because in 3 years to build his physique, even if he was on enhancements, because unless he's like the best hyper responder that ever lived, chances are he probably still has to put in a decent amount of work.
3 more. 1, 2, 3. Good.
This is a random side note, and I hope it doesn't come across as hate, but I think it's strategic that he has purposely wore the most baggiest trousers that you could probably ever find on earth. Because he does get often critiqued on his legs, because people keep saying, if you are such a natural phenom that you can build muscles so quick and so fast, why is it that your legs are nowhere near as big as your upper body? That's the question that often a lot of people throw around. But personally, when I've seen people say this, I do agree they're not as big as his upper body, but his legs ain't small. Like, this is decent sized legs for a person to have. It's just the fact that his upper body just looks so chopped up and bulky and muscular. It just overpowers his legs, if you know what I'm saying. Because it does look like that if he probably trained his legs probably as much as he does his upper body, he probably would grow them pretty good. You know what I mean? He's got the standard black thing of like having fairly small calves. In general, that tends to be like the area we lack in the most. People always say black people build muscle fast, but it's usually not on the calves. But in terms of his quads, he's got very good quads in my opinion. It's just not as crazy as that upper body. But as a whole, when it comes to this dude, personally, I am probably never, ever going to be probably convinced that he's natural. If he is natural, then absolutely the highest of salutes. If he isn't natural, it really don't matter. Because if he isn't natural, I'd almost say, what's the point? Because it's not really like a shunned thing anymore. Like, a lot of people are unnatural. The only reason I could really think of someone like him not coming out and saying that they're enhanced would be just like whether he's got like a very strict African or Jamaican or Caribbean parent to the point where he don't want them to know what he's using. Because I remember back in the day when my dad made such a stink about me starting to use whey protein, because in his eyes, and back in the day when I started training, whey protein was almost viewed as if it was steroids. Like, people would look at you like you're crazy when you told them you took whey protein, let alone anything like creatine, because most people didn't even know what that was. But anyways, before we go, let's just go find out how big his arms are, because that is probably his most prominent part of his physique.
We're measuring my arm size before I get a pump in. It's a little bit over 18, just resting, no pump. Okay, whenever I flex, it goes up to about almost 20. So we're gonna get a pump in and see how much that grows, so yeah.
All right, we're gonna skip the workout. Okay, honestly, I've seen enough of him in training. Let's just see how big they get.
And now, rested with the pump, you're at 18 and
3/4.
3/4. Oh,
So basically
almost
19.
19, yeah, pretty much, yeah. There, okay, flex for me. Oh my God. 20 and a little bit more than a quarter.
So there you have it, the world's most unbelievable natural. It'd be interesting to hear what other people think. Like, some of you may truly still believe he's natural. Some of you may not, like me, but in honesty, salutes to him for at least going to the gym. Like, I can't be bad. It's not like he's someone that's peddling drugs. And even though I do know there's the stigma that in the scenario that say he is a fake natty, that people hate fake natties because they're lying. However, I am one of the few people that do personally prefer fake natties to those that are open about steroids and end up inadvertently influencing many other people to end up using it, because the rise of fake natties coming out and saying they're on stuff has also coincided with the amount of young people going on stuff that they can now just Google because they've been told the recipe list of steroids to cocktail and mix up and put in their bodies. So personally, if it was me, if I could roll a dice or flip a switch, I would personally go back to the days where people lied about these incredible physiques, because at least the bare minimum, what it did was, yes, it may fuel like unrealistic body standards. However, most people, all it did was it made them go to the gym and try and build a physique. Yes, some ultimately flopped and quit because they got nowhere near it. But that's the worst case scenario. Whereas the worst case scenario nowadays, when the opposite occurred, is a lot of people are dying, getting heart attacks, getting crazy amounts of acne scars, flare-ups because of all these random drugs they put in their body. I would sooner pick the person quitting the gym, who probably wasn't dedicated enough anyway, over someone putting harmful substances in their body and getting worse outcomes. But let me know your thoughts down below on that specific bit. Like, what do you think's worse? Fake natties or steroid pushers? Anyways, people, click on this video up here if you want to see another one, or link down below to any of my coaching